This episode of Robservations is sponsored by The John Campea Show. Find The John Campea Show wherever you get your podcasts, or find the audio on YouTube on the John Campea channel. Greetings, imagination connoisseurs. Once again, it is I, your Duke of Dope Discourse, Robert Meyer Burnett. I invite you to watch and listen to the Designing Hollywood podcast, brought to you by Martika Ibarra and the great, legendary Hollywood costume designer, Marilyn Vance. I am afforded the wonderful opportunity of co-hosting the show. If you are interested in the magic of Hollywood, the design of Hollywood, the clothes of Hollywood, watch the Designing Hollywood podcast, available wherever you get your podcasts from, or find the video version on the John Campea YouTube channel. That's right, the Designing Hollywood podcast. Why would you ever want to miss it? Especially if you love the movies.
Hey, my name is King, or as some of you might know me better, Israel. I've gotten around, but hopefully you recognize me from my own channel, King Tannic. There's a new show coming to the Burnettwork that I think is pretty exciting. Welcome to the Otaku Experience, hosted by yours truly. There is going to be a weekly series where we dive into the news and the world of anime, manga, and whatever the heck else Japan has to offer us. The show will be pre-recorded and premiere on Thursdays at 2 p.m. Pacific Time or 5 p.m. Eastern, right here on the Burnettwork YouTube channel.
Observations with Robert Meyer Burnett.
Well, greetings, imagination connoisseurs. Once again, it is I, your Duke of Dope Discourse, your master of fun and wonder, your viceroy of verisimilitude, your sommelier of sci-fi and cinema, your evangelist of the imagination, and of course, the as-yet undefined existential Mr. Rogers. That's right, me, Robert Meyer Burnett, and I am robcasting it. You imagination connoisseurs, you members of this, the Post-Geek Singularity community. This is Robservations episode 859. Welcome, welcome, welcome. As you know, I've been sort of sometimes veering away from Star Trek and movies and all of that because, well, the world's just becoming more interesting by the day. And not just because Kyiv launched a drone attack against Moscow. No. Frankly, that depresses me. I wish that war was over. But it's not. Anyway, hey man, have we solved the debt ceiling crisis? That's pretty important too. But the thing that I find myself being obsessed by is AI, and as it relates to the future of art, the future of industry, the future of really human civilization, and I can't stop thinking about it. That and all of the new developments in technology that are going to help us make movies and that are going to help us hopefully make art, better art, new kinds of art. And I can't decide. To be honest, I'm on the fence. One day I'm optimistic about it. Another day I'm thinking, oh, the sky is falling and it's the end of all art. I don't know. I don't know what to make of it all, to be honest. But there are constantly interesting things happening. And I want to talk about first an article that screenwriter Rick Cleveland sent to me. Rick was, of course, on the show the other day. And he sent me a follow-up letter. He's going to talk about, well, he's thinking about starting his own podcast. Don't quite know what it's about, but he wanted to share it with me, and he wanted to come on the show again. And he's welcome anytime. I think I'm going to have him come back maybe this week. I know that tomorrow night, Danica19, or Comic Book Girl 19, is going to come on the show. She just launched a crowdfunding campaign for her new documentary about the movie Akira. And that's pretty exciting. Go check that out. It's on Kickstarter right now. She's an old friend of mine. We used to broadcast together on the old Collider Hero show with Mr. John Schnepp. So she reached out to me and asked if she could come on and talk about it. I said, absolutely. Again, I really appreciate what Danica's doing, especially a documentary about Akira. There's been so many fan-made documentaries, and they seem to be getting better and better and better. So really excited to hear what she has to say tomorrow. But anyway, Rick sent me an article that was in, it was an op-ed piece in the New York Times that a lot of people have picked up. I've even seen people have made AI videos of this article already on YouTube. I think I've seen like 6 of them. And when Rick sent me this and I read the article, I realized this article is from March 21st of 2023, a couple months ago. And I figured I'd share it kind of as a jumping off point with kind of what I'm thinking, where I'm at right now. So I'm going to read this article. By the way, look, part of what I've always done on this show is read articles, and I read whole articles. Some people who are new to the channel, they bitch about it. They're like, you shouldn't read whole articles. Look, there's thousands of hours of me pontificating. I think it's important sometimes for me to read entire articles so I can give context and talk about things. I know people like Tim Pool. Yes, I watch Tim Pool all the time. Tim Pool reads segments of articles, but I just feel like this is not a long article. It's an op-ed piece. I wanted to dive into it to sort of explain and tee up where I'm going, because I think this has a lot of interesting, salient points to make. So let's dive into it. And this is, of course, Thomas L. Friedman. And look, I understand a lot of people don't think the New York Times is what it used to be. I understand. Look, this is an op-ed piece. Let's just read it, and it sort of tees up what I want to talk about. This article is called "Our New Promethean Moment." Thomas L. Friedman, columnist, been writing for a long time. Thomas Friedman says, "I had a most remarkable but unsettling experience last week. Craig Mundy, the former chief research and strategy officer for Microsoft, was giving me a demonstration of GPT-4, the most advanced version of the artificial intelligence chatbot ChatGPT, developed by OpenAI and launched in November. Craig was preparing to brief the board of my wife's museum, Planet Word, of which he is a member, about the effect ChatGPT will have on words, language, and innovation. You need to understand, Craig warned me before he started his demo, this is going to change everything about how we do everything. I think that it represents mankind's greatest invention to date. It is qualitatively different, and it will be transformational. Large language models like ChatGPT will steadily increase in their capabilities," Craig added, "and take us toward a form of artificial general intelligence, delivering efficiencies in operations, ideas, discoveries, and insights that have never been attainable before across every domain." Then he did a demonstration, and I realized Craig's words were an understatement. First, he asked GPT-4, for which Craig was a selected advanced tester, and which was just released to the public, to summarize Planet Word and its mission in 400 words. It did so perfectly in a few seconds. Then he asked it to do the same in 200 words, another few seconds. Then he asked it to do the same in Arabic, just as quickly. Then in Mandarin, 2 more seconds. Then in English again, but in the form of a Shakespearean sonnet, a few more seconds. Then Craig asked GPT to write the same description in an abecedarian verse, where the first line begins with the letter A, the second with B, and so on through the alphabet. It did it with stunning creativity, beginning, "Alluring in Washington is a museum so grand, built to teach, inspire, and help us understand. Curious minds planet flock to words embrace, delving into language and its intricate grace. Every exhibit here has a story to tell, from the origins of speech to the art of the quill," and so on through the letter Z. I could barely sleep that night. To observe an AI system, its software, microchips, and connectivity produce that level of originality in multiple languages in just seconds each time, well, the first thing that came to mind was the observation by science fiction writer Arthur C. Clarke that any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. The second thing that came to mind was a moment at the start of The Wizard of Oz, the tornado scene, where everything and everyone are lifted into a swirling gyre, including Dorothy and Toto, and then swept away from mundane black and white Kansas to the gleaming futuristic land of Oz, where everything is in color. We are about to be hit by such a tornado. This is a Promethean moment we've entered. One of those moments in history when certain new tools, ways of thinking, or energy sources are introduced that are such a departure and advance on what existed before that you can't just change one thing. You have to change everything. That is, how you create, how you compete, how you collaborate, how you work, how you learn, how you govern, and yes, how you cheat, commit crimes, and fight wars. We know the key Promethean eras of the last 600 years. The invention of the printing press, the scientific revolution, the agricultural revolution combined with the industrial revolution, the nuclear power revolution, personal computing, and the internet, and now this moment. Only this Promethean moment is not driven by a single invention, like a printing press or a steam engine, but rather by a technology supercycle. It is our ability to sense, digitize, process, learn, share, and act, all increasingly with the help of AI. That loop is being put into everything, from your car to your fridge to your smartphone to fighter jets, and it's driving more and more processes every day. That's why I call our Promethean era the age of acceleration, amplification, and democratization. Never have more humans had access to more cheap tools that amplify their power at a steadily accelerating rate, while being diffused into the personal and working lives of more and more people all at once. And it's happening faster than most anyone anticipated. The potential to use these tools to solve seemingly impossible problems, from human biology to fusion energy to climate change, is awe-inspiring. Consider just one example that most people probably haven't heard of. The way DeepMind, an AI lab owned by Google parent Alphabet, recently used its AlphaFold AI system to solve one of the most wicked problems in science, at a speed and scope that was stunning to the scientists who had spent their careers slowly, painstakingly creeping closer to a solution. The problem is known as protein folding. Proteins are large, complex molecules made up of strings of amino acids. And as my Times colleague Cade Metz explained in a story on AlphaFold, proteins are the microscopic mechanisms that drive the behavior of the human body and all other living things. What each protein can do, though, largely depends on its unique three-dimensional structure. Once scientists can identify the shapes of proteins, added Metz, they can accelerate the ability to understand diseases, create new medicines, and otherwise probe the mysteries of life on Earth. But, Science News noted, it has taken decades of slow-going experiments to reveal the structure of more than 194,000 proteins, all housed in the Protein Databank. In 2022, though, the AlphaFold database exploded with predicted structures for more than 200 million proteins. For a human, that would be worthy of a Nobel Prize. Maybe two. And with that, our understanding of the human body took a giant leap forward. In a 2021 scientific paper, Unfolding AI's Potential, published by the Bipartisan Policy Center, put it, AlphaFold is meta-technology. Meta-technologies have the capacity to help find patterns that aid discoveries in virtually every discipline. ChatGPT is another such meta-technology. But as Dorothy discovered when she was suddenly transported to Oz, there was a good witch and a bad witch there, both struggling for her soul. So it will be with the likes of ChatGPT, Google's Bard, and AlphaFold. Are we ready? It's not looking that way. We're debating whether to ban books at the dawn of a technology that can summarize or answer questions about every book for everyone everywhere in a second. Like so many digital technologies based on software and chips, AI is dual use. It can be a tool or a weapon. The last time we invented a technology this powerful, we created nuclear energy. It could be used to light up your whole country or obliterate the whole world, the whole planet. But the thing about nuclear energy is that it was developed by governments, which collectively created a system of controls to curb its proliferation to bad actors. Not perfectly, but not bad. AI, by contrast, is being pioneered by private companies for profit. The question we have to ask, Craig argued, is how do we govern a country and a world where these AI technologies can be weapons or tools in every domain, while they are controlled by private companies and are accelerating in power every day, and do it in a way that you don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. We are going to need to develop what I call complex adaptive coalitions, where business, governments, social entrepreneurs, educators, competing superpowers, and moral philosophers all come together to define how we get the best and cushion the worst of AI. No one player in this coalition can fix the problem alone. It requires a very different governing model from the traditional left-right politics, and we will have to transition to it amid the worst great power tensions since the end of the Cold War, and culture wars breaking out inside virtually every democracy. And we better figure this out fast because, Toto, we're not in Kansas anymore. So, I thought that was a pretty interesting way to start this. Now, I've talked about this a little before on this show. I watch a lot of different YouTube videos. I look at a lot of different things on the internet. I'm always searching for just interesting stories all the time. I mean, I do have an insane thirst for knowledge, to be honest. I mean, when I say an insane thirst for knowledge, I mean it. I mean, I'm constantly looking for things that I don't know about, new things, whatever. And sometimes I find things that I'm blown away by. And I pinned a video at the top of this, top of the chat. And that was the first thing that I found that set me on sort of down this rabbit hole. It was a video that was published by a guy about a year ago, June of last year. And it talked about a new company called HU.MA.NE. HU.MA.NE. HU.MA.NE, like the word humane. HU.MA.NE was founded by Imran Chowdhury. And Imran Chowdhury, who is that? He is a British-American designer who created the user interface and interaction designs for the iPhone. While at Apple from 1995 to 2017, he was a designer on products including the Mac, the iPod, the iPhone, the iPad, Apple TV, the Apple Watch, AirPods, and HomePod. After starting at Apple as an intern in 1995, Chowdhury spent 19 years working at Apple as a designer. He and fellow designer Bas Ording updated the appearance of Mac OS and worked to create a new touch-based interface, replacing buttons with gestures. Chowdhury is credited as an inventor on several Apple patents, including a touchscreen. Chowdhury was part of the small iPhone design team that made the original iPhone interface. Previously, he worked on Dashboard, a widget interface on the Mac OS, and in addition to creating many iPhone features with other designers, Chowdhury created a grid of square app icons to organize the iPhone's functions, commonly referred to as the home screen, complete with its rearrangement functionality. Chowdhury left Apple in 2017 to form his own company, HU.MA.NE, along with his wife, Bethany Bongiorno, who he met while working on the iPad. That's all it says on his Wikipedia page. So I started reading about HU.MA.NE, and there's not a lot on it. You can see Mr. Chowdhury on a TED Talk that was released a couple of weeks ago. But then, after watching the video I pinned to the top of this, I started doing a deep dive about what is the company HU.MA.NE. Well, you'll find out in that video. HU.MA.NE has basically, I wouldn't say stolen is the right word. Let's just say hired away, possibly, from Apple, most of their chief design personnel, dozens of people. And they've also gone to other companies, Google, take your pick of which big tech companies. And they've put together basically a dream team. And if you watch the video before this year, people didn't know what they were doing. They had taken out 4 patents. One of their patents was telling a patent for a device that can tell a woman exactly when she's in her cycle, her ovulation cycle, so you know exactly when you can conceive a child. That was one of their 4 original patents. They might have more now, but according to the video you watch that's pinned at the top of this video, it's pretty interesting. The others were for things like laser projection, and it's really, really interesting what they're doing. And I'll talk more about that, but I wanted to first show you this. Here is from their website, and their website is HU.MA.NE. Good AI is humane. The 10 principles for designing good AI. This is on their website. Good AI is humane. Why it's important to advocate and practice good design principles in the intelligence age. We firmly believe that technology should be crafted to serve people, not the other way around. Humane is an experienced company that uses technology for good, and not a technology company that finds good reasons to experience technology. There's a difference, and that difference means putting people first by design. Our focus is on crafting AI technology that is not only powerful, but also thoughtfully designed and a joy to use. As we build toward launch, we wanted to share our 10 principles for designing good AI so that others can join us on our journey to create a brighter, more connected future where AI technology is designed to uplift humanity rather than overpower it. Number 1, good AI is trustworthy. AI should be designed with the utmost respect for privacy and security, ensuring that users' data is protected and their trust is earned. Number 2, good AI is ethical. AI should be designed with an understanding of the ethical implications of its use and should always prioritize the well-being of its user. Good AI is transparent. AI should be transparent in its decision-making processes, allowing users to understand and trust the technology. See what trust and privacy mean to us. You can watch this video on their site. 4, good AI is innovative. AI should seek to advance the lives of its users, not just be a new thing. Number 5, good AI is useful. AI should be designed with intention, solving real problems in a meaningful way. Number 6, good AI is efficient. AI should work efficiently without wasting resources or causing unnecessary strain to the experience. Number 7, good AI is human-centered. AI should be designed with the needs and perspective of its users in mind, always striving to improve their experience. See how truth drives our technology. Number 8, good AI is accessible. AI should be designed with an accessibility in mind, ensuring that its benefits can be enjoyed by everyone regardless of ability. Number 9, good AI is inclusive. AI should be designed for all, accounting for the diverse needs and perspectives of its wide range of users. Good AI is timeless. AI should be designed to be durable and reliable, ensuring that its benefits can be enjoyed for years to come. So that is basically their, I guess, mission statement on AI. I mean, I think that's kind of, what they're doing. Now, you might ask yourself, what is humane building? Now, this is where it gets interesting. From what I understand, from what I'm getting from Humane, doing the research, Humane is going to get rid of this. Phones will be a thing of the past. What Humane is creating is a wearable piece of technology that, for instance, it's basically, think of it as an AI personal assistant. And this piece of AI technology is going to do all kinds of things. The lasers that are in this wearable technology, you can literally open your hands and the lasers will project what you'd normally get on your home screen on your hand. So if you want to use your phone, you can interface with it right here with your fingers on your hands. It gets rid of the barrier between what we want to do in our technology. This device is so sophisticated, If you're, say, in a foreign country, a foreign land, and you're walking down the street, this device with its lasers and what it can see can analyze exactly where you are. The buildings, it'll digitize the buildings while you're walking. You can look down. It'll show which direction you're going. It's going to get rid of the need of an actual computer, and there's not going to be any barrier between you and your technology. What they're doing is so advanced, and the more you delve into it, well, actually, there's an article, and let me show this article to you, because I'll play a little video because it's so astonishing when you start reading about what they're actually doing. It's so insane and you realize how crazy it really is. I was blown away. I mean, this technology is so next level, and it's like anything from any movie that you've ever seen, but it's absolutely, totally real. And it's so crazy. I don't even know what to make of it. But so here's an article from The Verge that I wanted to show you. Let me just pop it up here. And so Imran Chowdhury did a TED Talk, and I hope you all watch the TED Talk. But you can kind of see, let's see, let me put this up here so you can see it. So here you can kind of see now, imagine you're wearing something on your breast pocket, in your breast pocket. This is the kind of thing you'll see that you'll get a phone call, and that's the lasers, and that's kind of what it's doing. And so when you watch this TED Talk, this is The Verge responding to what it does. And The Verge, this is by Jacob Kastrenakes. He's a deputy editor about The Verge, and this was printed on May 9th of this month. The demo is clever, questionably real, and prompts a lot of questions about how this device will actually work. Buzz has been building around the secretive tech startup Humane for over a year, and now the company is finally offering a look at what it's been building. At a TED Talk last month, Humane co-founder Imran Chowdhury gave a demonstration of the AI-powered wearable the company is building as a replacement for smartphones. Bits of the video leaked online after the event, but the full video is now available to watch. The device appears to be a small black puck that slips into your breast pocket with a camera, projector, and speakers sticking out of the top. Throughout the 15-minute presentation, Chowdhury walks through a handful of use cases for Humane's gadget. The device rings when Chowdhury receives a phone call. He holds his hand up and the device projects the caller's name along with icons to answer or ignore the call. He then has a brief conversation. He presses and holds one finger on the device and then asks a question about where he can buy a gift. The device responds with the name of a shopping district. He taps two fingers on the device, says a sentence, and the device translates the sentence into another language, stating it back using the AI-generated clone of his voice, which means that you can go to a foreign country and you can ask somebody a question in your language, and it will immediately translate using your voice and speak that language in whatever country you're in. Universal translator. It's incredible. He presses and holds one finger on the device, says, "Catch me up," and it reads out a summary of recent emails, calendar events, and messages. He holds a chocolate bar in front of the device and then presses and holds one finger on the device while asking, "Can I eat this?" The device recommends he does not because he has a food allergy. He presses down on one finger again and tells the device he's ignoring its advice. Chowdhury, who previously worked on design at Apple for more than 2 decades, pitched the device as a salve for a world covered in screens. Some believe AR/VR glasses like these are the answer, he said, in an image of VR headsets behind him. He argued those devices, like smartphones, put a further barrier between you and the world. Humane's device, whatever it's called, is designed to be more natural by eschewing the screen. The gadget operates on its own. You don't need a smartphone or any other device to pair with it, he said. It's an impressive demo and a neat idea, but it does leave a ton of open questions, from how much of this demo is real to how this device can actually fit into our lives. How do you use this if you don't have a shirt or jacket with a breast pocket? How is he accepting the call in this demo? We never see him use the projector buttons or a voice command. During the translation demo, how did the device know what language to translate into? I'm guessing the two-finger tap meant, did he send French as a default? How does this device get any of your digital information like contacts or meeting info? Does it sync with a companion app? Does it hook into existing services like Gmail and Outlook? Do I have to read it all in? How much of this is happening on the device and how much is happening in the cloud? How much can the device even do without an internet connection? Chowdhury described the device as a privacy first and safe. Does that include privacy for people in front of your chest camera? How bright is that projector and how loud is the speaker? Will it work in bright daylight? Can I hear it in a crowded venue? How long am I expected to hold my hand up for it? How far away do I have to hold it? Are there third-party apps? Can I call an Uber? Can I listen to Spotify? How will Humane get developers on board a niche first-gen device that requires a new interface style? How is the projector philosophically different from a screen? Why use a projector at all when something like call controls can be handled with your voice? Chowdhury says Humane will have more to share in the next few months. We're looking forward to learning more and hopefully getting a lot more answers. Here's the thing. If you look at the people that are working for Humane on whatever this new device turns out to be, they're the ballers of the ballers. They are quite possibly the greatest collection of technologists that have ever been put together, certainly by a startup. It's incredible what they're doing, I think. And I think coupled with what's going on with AI, and let's face it, it's not really AI yet. To me, artificial intelligence, true artificial intelligence, is on this channel we call ourselves, we're members of the Post-Geek singularity. I stole that idea from Ray Kurzweil's book, The Coming Singularity. And that's, of course, when AI becomes self-aware. And that's when I believe it truly becomes artificial intelligence. Right now, it's not really very intelligent at all. It's more of a tool, a very powerful tool, yes, but it isn't truly artificially intelligent yet. However, knowing that this kind of technology, we're at the bottom of a hill, and there's a little snowball that started rolling back in November when they dropped, isn't it interesting how they dropped Midjourney and dropped ChatGPT and dropped Bard and all this stuff on us all at once, almost as if it was coordinated, which it of course was. Let's rip off the Band-Aid, get everybody used to our new AI overlords all at once. But I'll tell you something. This little snowball it's an avalanche, and it's coming right at us. And I don't know what we are going to do about it. It's going to be really interesting to watch. But looking into a company like Humane, I'll tell you, if I had any extra income, I'd buy stock. You can't buy stock yet. It's not a publicly traded company. But I think whatever's going on, based on the brain trust they have here, it's going to be very, very fascinating. And I think it's really going to be interesting to see where technology is going in the next 5 years. The same way that I think that, at least in terms of entertainment, AI it's astonishing in its the implications. So the question that I have is, and that I will continue to have, and that I'll probably keep addressing, is where are we going with all of this? Seriously, do we know? Do we know where we're going? We don't. We don't really know. And I'm watching out, because I think that the revolution, it's certainly going to be televised. And I honestly, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to say. I guess I can just watch it happen. That's all we can do, I suppose. Whatever it happens, I don't know. But I think these two companies, Humane is worth looking at, and then, ChatGPT, OpenAI with ChatGPT 4, what they're going to allow us to do, and what they're going to do in tandem, what all these companies are going to do, is going to leave us in a place. I'm already breathless, and I don't know what it all means. I don't presume to know, but it's pretty crazy. Now, I would suggest everybody look up all the videos for Humane, starting with the one pinned at the top, because that'll sort of set the stage. I've already kind of done that and take you on your journey, but I think it's worth doing. And then watch the demonstration, which you can now see The entire TED Talk is available online, and it's pretty amazing. Now, I do have a few I have a few letters I want to read, some viewer letters. Let me just let me make sure I can have to do my authorization to get into my Google Mail. So I've got some, obviously I read letters on the channel, so I'm trying to do two things at once here, and we'll get to the letters. So if you want to send us letters, you can go right down below at postgeeksingularity.com, go to our website, and they're there. So here's a letter that comes from Victor Rowe. Victor, it's just, the subject is Smallville. Hello, Rob. I hope your day is going well. I finally finished it. Smallville. Since 2014, maybe 2015, I've been watching this epic television series, and mid-April I completed the journey. As cheesy as some of it was, well, a lot of it, it was still a good time. My favorite episodes are the pilot and the series finale. I hope all is well. I hope Mike is feeling all right, and I miss road tripping with Rob and Mike. Great visits. That Andy Griffith thumbnail, totally awesome. In addition, the Burnettwork is a truly fascinating time. Great shows, fantastic people, just swell. P.S. I love Picard Season 3. It rocked. It is epic beyond imagination. Hashtag good show. Well, thanks, Victor. I very much appreciate it. Yeah, I've noticed I'm getting a lot more letters that are liking sort of broadening the content. I mean, sure, people like my Star Trek rants, and I'll talk Star Wars and all that, but there's so many things that are going on now in the world that I'm really enjoying covering all of this. So I'm having fun. This one comes from our old friend Christopher McCullen. Mr. Burnett, my grandmother was born before the invention of television. Today, when she watches the news on one, she sees pundits debate the ramifications nascent artificial intelligence will have on society. I once confounded a schoolmate of mine with the assertion that since splitting of the atom, human civilization hadn't invented anything new, merely iterating on the inventions of the 19th and early 20th centuries. The better car, the better plane, camera, phone, mousetrap. Miniaturization was the one outlier, but it's hardly something to hang your hat on. Microchips are in the end of the just a better book, with the language of letters transliterated into a super inefficient series of numbers and accessed through a super efficient user interface. I didn't really believe this myself at the time, but unlike then, I now live in an age where the promise of the internet has finally borne fruit. Man's first invention in too long. John Milton, author of Paradise Lost, is considered by some to be the last person to have read every book. The totality of human knowledge long fell out of the reach of any one person as we've grown more and more capable of storing it, but even if one could encompass it, how reliably could they recall any of it? The human's abnormally large brain is a remarkable bit of wetware. It consumes 20% of the body's energy and can store petabytes worth of information, and until very recently it was cutting edge. We've reached the capacity of simian tech, and so we created something better. We will soon live in an era where exists countless Miltons with countless Paradise Losts. Those who perceive the end of art will have to contend with the opposite problem. There will be such a glut that the largesse of the streaming era will seem paltry in comparison. Our own limitations will be the only mitigating factor. There is no such thing as artificial art, but there is something about it that makes people believe in magic, such as when a celebrated Picasso suddenly looks mundane when it's revealed to be a forgery. Soon, the same double standard will be leveled at the art of the unperson. I've seen a little of this contradiction on the show. Many are intrigued and disquieted by the coming paradigm shift, but like the backlash to Gutenberg's press, there is no holding back the future. Art is going to become much easier for everyone, and as a futurist, this should be cause for celebration. I believe the only moral way to view the world is to see it without yourself, without your personal bias on it. I have yet to hear a case made against AI that doesn't evoke a confused appeal to magic or a Luddite reaction to change. Let's try and nursemaid infant humanity into the future once more. From Christopher, what strange eons await us. Always, Christopher's been writing this channel for years, and he's always interesting, I'll tell you that. Look, I too am a futurist, and I too am quite interested to see what the future holds for all of us. However, as somebody who wanted to be a filmmaker my entire life and loving the process of filmmaking, I also know that we're going to live in a not-so-distant future where, say, the movies of David Fincher will all be digitized, and an AI could tell you exactly what focal length the lens was used to get this shot. Was it a prime lens? Was it an anamorphic lens? The computer will know, shot by shot by shot. And if I tell a computer I want a David Fincher-esque movie that stars Humphrey Bogart and Lauren Bacall and Marilyn Monroe and Sharon Stone and Tom Hanks and Tom Cruise, I'll be able to hit a button and it will read out all of David Fincher's movies and think to itself, okay, these are all of Fincher's films, these are the subjects they deal with, and it'll give me an amalgamation of David Fincher's movies, and AI will generate everything I need, and a 2-hour movie will pop out that'll look and feel like a David Fincher movie that stars any actor I want in it. It'll feel like, take your pick, you could even say which screenwriter you hope would write it. I would say Andy Kevin Walker, who wrote Seven, and maybe I'll get something. But that's what's going to happen, and that's what everybody's going to be doing all day, every day. And that's what you mean, Christopher. For me, I like the idea of standing on a set with a bunch of technicians that knows what they're doing. I like picking lenses. I like working with actors. I like doing all those things. But in our AI world, we're not going to need to do any of them. And that makes me sad. Now, does that mean that AI will ever be able to make a better movie than, say, Martin Scorsese or Steven Spielberg or Joseph Mankiewicz or Orson Welles or Kurosawa or Truffaut, Saji Ray? I mean, maybe not. But they'll be able to make something that people are going to watch. So, while I'm optimistic about the future, I don't know if we are equipped to deal with where it's going to take us very, very, very quickly. But that's a great letter, and I want to thank you for writing in, Christopher. It's always good to hear from you. There's some Josep Arakovich. Josep Arakovich. How are you, Josep? Hey, Rob, I haven't sent in a letter in a while, and I was wondering, what is your saddest Star Trek episode? Mine is Voyager Oblivion. For me, it's easily Voyager Season 5, Episode 18, Course Oblivion. It'll start joyfully enough with a wedding for Tom and B'Elanna. Voyager is 2 years from coming home. Everything's great. However, before the episode is out, it's revealed that the entire crew are duplicates of the real crew, as is the ship. As the episode continues, their molecular structure breaks down and systems and crew members succumb. The saddest part is the ending where they make it to within striking distance of the real Voyager, only to completely lose molecular cohesion. They fade out of existence with nobody being aware they even existed. It's a sequel episode to an earlier Voyager episode called Demon. I always wondered, how did the fake crew manage to clone the ship, as they were cloning organics, and get ahead so far in front of the real Voyager, as Voyager had a huge head start, and also not realizing way sooner that the only atmosphere they can survive is the Demon-class planet? Well, those are good questions. I think this is a great episode, but to me it's still kind of a gimmicky episode, so while it's kind of a bummer what happens, I mean, those people weren't real people anyway. So, I mean, I understand why you think it's sad. You know, there's a lot of sad episodes, but I have to go to the original series. I have to go to a first season episode called This Side of Paradise. And the episode even ends with Kirk saying, "Another dream that failed. There's nothing sadder." And of course, it's the episode with the spores where Spock falls in love with Leela Kalomi, and a man named Elias Sandoval and his colony is on. They're living a blissful existence on this colony. Everything seems perfectly normal, but it turns out that they haven't created anything on their own because the indigenous plant species blasted them with these spores that made everybody happy and content, and it took away their ability to basically produce anything. It kept them there, it kept them safe from the Berthold rays or whatever. And here was a colony of people that had accomplished nothing, had done nothing. Everything that they started the colony to do, they didn't do, because they had the bliss that was given to them artificially by this plant. Call it a drug, call it what you will. And I think that might have been the saddest episode. I mean, you could say that City on the Edge of Forever is incredibly sad with Edith Keeler dying, but in a way, at the end, Edith Keeler always was going to die, had to die, so history could go the way it was going to go. So while it was a tragic episode, at the end, it wasn't truly sad because all was right with the universe. Whereas this side of paradise, at the end of the day, you had a group of people that had a dream, and it failed utterly. And as Kirk said, another dream that failed. There's nothing sadder. There's probably a lot more sadder episodes of Star Trek than that, but that was what came to my mind. But it's an interesting question. I mean, I think that Course Oblivion is actually a really interesting Voyager episode. And when Voyager leaned into the kind of weird scientific-y strangeness that Brannon Braga really leaned into, I think sometimes you got some great Voyager episodes. I mean, one of my favorite Voyager episodes is, of course, Living Witness, if you haven't seen that. And also, I love an episode called Blink of an Eye, where the Voyager is suspended above a planet where time is moving much faster on the surface than it is for Voyager. So they're actually watching this civilization thousands of years tick by. And this poor civilization, talking about a prime directive violation, looks at the Voyager in the sky for thousands of years and wonders, what the hell is that? And it dominates their culture as it develops. So that's a great episode too. It's not sad, but it's a great episode. And that's one of the things I liked about Voyager. So good stuff, as they would say. So yeah, this next letter. Well, you know, hang on. There's a lot of people firing in tips or super chats, and let me see what people have to say. Dionysus Larson is a member, has been a member for a month, and says, hopefully this will be the day that I can take you up on your offer and we can talk and look each other in the eye. Today is the day. I don't know if we can do that because I wasn't planning on bringing anybody on the show, but maybe. I usually do that on the weekends. Darth Plato says, hi, Rob. The comments on the video you linked are just as interesting as the video. I'd hope so. It is really interesting. So I'm glad you liked it. That's the pinned video at the top of this chat. Tatsu Sama says, greetings from Switzerland, sir. Keep that stuff coming. Well, I absolutely will. I'm glad you enjoy it. Scott Bartholomew says, makes you wonder if HU.MA.NE is reverse engineering some alien to us tech that has been discovered yet suppressed to the general public. I'm sure that there's a lot of stuff like that that might be going on. I don't know. I mean, you know, Bob Lazar on whenever he's on Rogan, he's very convincing. It wouldn't surprise me. Our friend Someoldguyinhawaii says, food for thought. The most prevalent current negative potential of AI is the empowerment of one, usually small group of people to exploit other people. Concerns me more than a Colossus takeover. Oh, I agree. Same as it ever was. I mean, the problem is you think about the people that want to subjugate and always take over, they're so small-minded. You know, they all want the same thing, money and power. And yet, once they have money and power, what are they going to do with it? You know, I always think back to Superman 2. When Zod takes over the world, he's in the White House, and Ursa is like, you're a master of all you survey. And Zod's like, that was yesterday and the day before. The Kryptonian takes over the world, Superman's lost his powers, and he's bored. Like, what are you going to do? I mean, unless you have art, unless you're going to make something, unless you're going to look outside yourself, I mean, if you get all the money in the world and all the power you want, what are you going to do? I don't know. It's kind of sad, really. Zachary Zabayle says, one day, Zachary, I'm going to find out which one is correct, but I'll just say both for now on. From now on. Mark Bone provides a workshop for aspiring documentarians. The workshop is composed of videos with bi-monthly Zoom chats on how to make your doc. Charges $300. Your knowledge must dwarf his. Be our guru about making documentaries. Well, here's the thing. Here's the great advice I can give somebody about making a documentary. And it happens all the time. You, as a filmmaker, have an idea about a story that you want to tell. And you go out and you start documenting things. Like let's say you want to make a story about, I don't know, some environmental catastrophe, something that happened that affected all different kinds of people, and all different state governments were involved, local governments, local jurisdiction. And you might have a story that you want to tell. And that's why you started making the documentary in the first place. But the biggest lesson about making a documentary is when you dig into your story, the story that you wanted to tell will morph and metastasize before your eyes. And what you have to do, a great documentarian does not get in the way of the story that you're uncovering. The story you want to tell is not the same story that you're going to reveal when you start making your documentary. And you have to remember to allow the story to unfold. And it's going to take you in directions you might not even have thought of going. But that's what happens whenever you make a documentary, is that the story that you want to tell changes. It reveals itself the more you dig in. And you cannot stop. You have to allow the story to show you the form it's going to take. And it's up to you to make sure that you do that story justice. And the more you look at it from every perspective and present you've got to be as objective as you can. And that's what documentary filmmaking is all about. Or even if you're not filmmaking, you're writing a book or something, which is a great thing. But Zachary, I'll try and, I'll tell you as much as I can. Thomas Logan says MGM announces a $200 million Bond film called For Her Majesty and the Kingdom, starring a 35-year-old Sean Connery, AI-generated Sean Connery as 007. Do you boycott the film? No, I don't boycott the film, but here's the thing. There's going to be a lot of people that you're going to get a great AI Star Wars movie and people are going to watch it. It'll be like watching an animated film, I suppose. It's just, I call me old-fashioned, but one of the things, look, everything that you see in a movie is made up. It's all make-believe. Nothing is real. It was all controlled environments. They strive to create reality, but none of it's real. The actors are playing people that they're not, but you're still looking at real human beings. You're still looking at real people. And I'm not sure that I would want to watch a movie where I knew it was AI generated. Now, that's because I grew up in a world where movies were the art form of the 20th century and they were the thing that meant the most to me. And it wasn't just the movies themselves, it was the process of making films. I love to make movies. I love to be on a set. I love to watch that magic happen. I love to be in an edit bay. I love to put the pieces of it all together. There's a joy in that for me. But I'm not going to argue. I worked on Tango Shalom for years as an editor, on and off here and there, moving the edit bay. One day I was working in a closet, actually. I was editing in Joseph Bologna's closet. I kid you not. That's where I was editing this movie. I edited the movie all over the place. But with AI could probably cut it together in, I don't know, a matter of hours, maybe faster. But there was a joy sitting with director Gabriel Bologna, and we put this movie together. It was a true labor of love, and we went through every frame of film. We looked at every little thing that we could do with this fakakta movie, and we tried to make it as good as we could make it. And there was a joy in that. And it would seem sad that is kind of going to go away. The idea of being on set with actors, watching actors improvise, come up with things on the fly, giving you a wink, seeing a glimmer in somebody's eye. I don't necessarily think AI can do that now. I mean, eventually it's going to be all programmable, and I'm sure it will be able to do that. But I don't know if I want to watch a movie with artificially generated people knowing. But see, then I also come up against the conundrum that nothing in a movie is real now. And it's a pain in the ass to spend. I mean, how many days do we shoot Superman Returns for? I mean, the better part of a year, hundreds. I don't think it was quite 200 days of shooting. It was like 170 days of shooting or something. 170 days. Think about that. Weekends off. That's a stretch, man. That's a lot of work. And if AI could generate it, in 50 years, is anyone going to care? Tell me a great story, you know? I don't know. I mean, I'm holding on to something that I've imbued with meaning. And the thing is, we're going to have a new generation of people. I already see people that, hey, I don't care if you give me a great Star Wars story. Who cares if it's artificially generated? If it's got great action and it's got great characters, what's the difference? I mean, people already play, hey, people love Knights of the Old Republic. That was a video game. Same thing. If people like the story, if people are immersed in the lore, doesn't matter if a human hand actually crafts the story. I mean, what AI is doing is generating stories from human existence, from stories that have been around since the dawn of time. It's taking previously existing stories, putting them in a blender and giving us something new, which is what we do anyway. So that's the thing that's the conundrum that I have. I don't know. And I ask myself this question more and more and more. I ask myself this question every single day. And to be honest, you know, I worry in that I still have a couple of movies I'd really like to make. But am I going to be able to make them? You know, one I can make for $3 to $4 or $5 million bucks. I'd really like to make it. I'd really like to get on set again with real actors and make a film. And then I have a big budget fantasy epic I'd like to make. I don't know if anyone will let me make it, but I'd like to make it. If I could get those 2 movies made, I'd have 3 movies I'd made in my life that I directed, wrote and directed. And I would be happy. I'd be able to walk away from this life and say, you know what? I have no regrets. I'm sorry I didn't have kids of my own, but I've got Elizabeth's kids. I've been raising them for almost a decade now. So, but I don't have any real regrets about anything. I've had a great life, but I would like to make more movies. And it's funny because who's going to care except me? But hey. So I don't know, Thomas. Would I go see the Bond movie? Would I go see an AI-generated Bond movie? Probably. I'd probably enjoy it more than I enjoyed Fast X. I don't know if I'd want to see. I guess, look, once you're using AI to generate actors and things like that, doesn't matter anymore. I don't know. Things are getting better and better. It's a weird time, man. Scott Bartholomew says, AI makes me think of the ultimate computer. That is a 2nd season original series episode. That's the famous episode where William Marshall, the great William Marshall, who people might know as Blackula, he played Dr. Richard Daystrom, building on my work. And Dr. Daystrom, he was the creator of the duotronic circuit that ran the computers in most starships. What Dr. Daystrom did was he created the M5 computer that was supposed to replace a captain, supposed to replace human beings at the heart of a starship. And of course, the M5 wasn't able to think exactly like a human being, and it led to disaster. It was a cautionary tale about rampant technology run amok. I wonder if we're going to see in Strange New Worlds an episode, a cautionary tale about AI in the 2nd season. Probably not, but I wonder if we will. I mean, the funny thing about Star Trek to me is there are so many current issues that they could be dealing with in a really interesting way, and I haven't seen much of that in things like Strange New Worlds or Discovery. I hope to. Maybe the 5th season of Discovery will be good. It won't, but hope springs eternal. Maybe it will be. Maybe I'll like Strange New Worlds. Maybe I won't see it as the Las Vegas showgirls version of Star Trek the way I do now. I don't believe anything in that show. I don't believe anything anybody says to one another. I don't believe the set design. I don't believe the special effects. I don't believe anything. It is truly the Vegas showgirl version of Star Trek. Tonight, from Caesar's Palace at the Colosseum, it's Star Trek, bigger, better than you've ever seen it before. See your handsome leading man and his bevy of sexually ambiguous females that identify in all kinds of different ways, genetically engineered. Whatever. Come tonight It's the hottest show in Vegas. It's Strange New Worlds. Fucking hate that show. I know I'm supposed to love it. No, it's pretty good. No, it's the So's a Vegas show, you know? It's great. It's one step away from Know Me Below and Goddess. There you go. Oh, Mashby says, how is your model building going? I finished my Warhammer 40k faction after 6 months. In the meantime, I made a spaceship for my 4-year-old. He loves solar system. Well, Mashby, I got to tell you, to be honest, I have not touched my starship, my space battleship Andromeda for like 3 weeks, and Elizabeth's about had it up to here. And she's like, how come you're bringing other models into the kitchen? I go, I know. I need to finish the Andromeda. I got to tell you, it was a marathon, not a sprint. I mean, it's huge. So I'm going to finish it probably this week. It's just been rough. But anyway, so Mashby, that's cool that you made your son, your 4-year-old. Actually, you didn't say son. You just, I'm making assumptions. You said you made a spaceship for your 4-year-old. I said son. I should have said for your child, because I wouldn't want to misgender anybody. But that's really cool. So, most excellent. And on that note, everyone, I think I'm going to end this stream. You know, it's a quick one. It's an hour. I got to say what I wanted to say. The Robservations for the day. I want to thank Tom Jr. Jackson for being a great moderator. I want to thank everybody who writes in letters. I want to thank everybody who supports the channel via super chats and tips. A lot more stuff coming. Everyone should check out Lana Ewan's reviews on the channel. I love those. Also, Architects of Imagination, a game developer podcast. Pretty great stuff. Really interesting stuff. So check that out. Really like that show. There's going to be a new Designing Hollywood this week on John Campia's channel and all of that. Scott Bartholomew asks, will AI morph with humankind? Well, I don't think so, but I do think that we are going to be transhuman in the future, meaning that there is going to be technology and biology fused together. I think that's inevitable. That's another thing I don't like about Star Trek Discovery. I think their 1,000-year in the future is ridiculous. I don't think people would be like that at all. I think human beings would be living 500 years or longer. Things would change, but they haven't. But yeah, I think transhumanism's coming. I don't necessarily think we're going to combine with AI, but AI is going to allow us. I mean, look, one day, and I'm not going to see it, you'll be able to swallow a pill with thousands of submicroscopic nanobots that are going to travel through your bloodstream and just repair your cells and make you live for hundreds of years. I wish I could see that, because I would love to be, hey man, if you said, well, Rob, you can live to be 2,000 years or longer if you want, I'd do that. I mean, I would hope no one would have a nuclear war. I would not want to be the oldest person in the wasteland, but I would love to have seen. Can you imagine having been alive for 2,000 years, what we would have seen? Man, that would have been awesome. But, so yeah, I'm down with that. I don't think it's going to morph with humankind, but it's going to be interesting. And on that note, everybody, remember, well, tell me what you think in the, like, subscribe, all that. But I'd love to hear your comments. Check out that pinned video and follow the rabbit hole down the humane. Go down the humane rabbit hole. Tell me what you think. Am I too optimistic? Are they smoke and mirrors? When you see the people involved in the company, I can't believe they're going to do anything less than make something revolutionary. Of course, I've thought that before. So anyway, on that note, remember, every person you meet has a story to tell that you have yet to hear. And all you have to do is listen. And once again, thanks to John Campia for sponsoring this episode of Robservations. You can find his podcasts wherever you get your podcasts.